Ahead in the Glasshouse, thinking positive.
Hey, Kim, how many years will we have to wait for a Labor government?
You're talking about a few hundred.
G'day folks, welcome to the Glasshouse, the program that asks the question, with human beings the biggest danger to the environment, on World Environment Day, is it okay to kill someone? More news of the World Cup full of football goodness this week. In Brisbane, some wacky bloke put New Zealand up for auction on eBay and attracted bids of $3,000. $3,000? That better include postage and packaging. Actually, 3,000's quite respectable, unless it's New Zealand dollars. Then again, think what you could do if you owned it. You could climb a mountain and then climb back down again. Anyway, if this works, they're selling Iraq next. A renovator's dream. In Germany, police are asking for help in tracking down thieves who stole an entire roller coaster. Authorities believe they may be thrill seekers. And the cops are hot on their trail. They went that-a-wee! In Canberra, the new head of the immigration department, who earns over $400,000 a year, has hired a $1,000 an hour personal motivator to help him do his job. What happened to the good old days when senior public servants only had expensive sessions with top-shelf prostitutes? Immigration boss Andrew Metcalf justified it by saying, you need to keep the edge. It'd be cheaper to hire the edge from you too. But he also encourages Andrew to use techniques like maintaining a positive outlook. They're not inmates, they're play friends. And they may be sewing their lips together, but at least they're learning a craft. The department recently changed its motto to people are our business. This is true. Other possibilities were locking up people is our business and we treat people like shit. Congrats!
Exercise news, Treadwheel. A company in the UK called Fitness for Kids has designed a range of toy gymnasium equipment for children as young as 3. This explains why sports drink bottles come with plastic nipples. And if you think a normal 3-year-old is hard to handle, wait till they start bulking up. Straight from toilet training to weight training. And it is best to do it in that order. So what do toddlers wear while they're working out? Gym jams! But children that young don't need gym equipment. Just trying to lift the weight of their enormous heads is exercise enough. This just seems like an awful lot of trouble. Isn't toddler liposuction easier? At the very least, they shouldn't give children miniature adult equipment. They should design stuff especially for them. Like a mechanical nerdy kid they can give dead legs and nipple cripples to. Come on, feel the Chinese burn!
Tigers! Hello, mate. How are you?
I don't know what emotion to feel about the news I heard last week. Yes, apparently pharmacies all around the nation are very soon going to be selling do-it-yourself drug test kits. You know what I reckon? I mean, drugs are all about taking a risk. Why would you want to test them? Actually, I found out you don't actually test the drugs. You test the person to see whether you, if it's do-it-yourself, see whether you have taken drugs. I mean, you should know, shouldn't you, if you've taken drugs? Why would you want to test yourself? Maybe you did have a big night out, you got home the next day and thought, oh, what did I have last night? Let's sort it out. And That's normally for parents. That's mainly for parents to test their children, apparently, and a test for things like marijuana, amphetamines and cocaine. If your child is testing positive to cocaine, they're getting too much pocket money. It's ridiculous.
All right, let's get to it. Joining me, Corinne and Dave, to throw some stones in the Glasshouse tonight. She's a psychologist, she's an author, she's a sex therapist, Dr. Jan Hall. And from the breakfast show on ABC 702 in Sydney, the force of nature that is Adam Spencer. All right, movers and shakers. First up, the modern mums of Australia, who are keeping babies safe and making life so much easier for everyone else with the very latest in stroller technology, the enormous pram. It wouldn't be so bad if they were actually going somewhere, but they're not. They're just going for coffee with all the other mums in the neighbourhood congregating on footpaths like a bunch of lactating Hell's Angels. I do not like a group of prams. I do not like them in a jam. I do not like them off the road. I do not like my walking slowed, especially when I try to scram. They slow things down like email spam. I hate them at the traffic stops. I hate them in the coffee shops. The babies cry and pull my hair. I hate them everywhere. Costello, your ideas are bogus. Curse you and your baby bonus. Corinne, you like to walk the streets. Have you come across the giant pram phenomenon?
Yeah, no, giant prams don't tend to be out at the hours when I'm hooking. No, look, I'm sure, I'm positive being a new mother is a lot of hard work. And I think most mothers, are just struggling to keep their eyes open most of the time and are happy to see sunlight and go, oh, God, I'm out of the house. But there are those aggressive women who just get on the footpath and go, if you don't get out of the way, I'm running over you. Yeah. I've had my feet run over by angry women with giant prams before. And if you're using your child as a battering ram, maybe you should think twice about why you had the kid in the first place.
I ran into one in my car. It rode off my Barina.
But they do use them also as designer comparisons. I was talking at the Nursing Mothers meeting recently, and I was to talk about sex on the main stage outside. And there were 40 chairs there and only about 9 occupied because all the mothers were walking around on the outside looking at each other's pram.
Really?
Good grief. They weren't even interested in sex.
I was going to say, as someone who's got a 14-month-old myself, if you're talking to a group of new mothers, how was the topic of sex in any way relevant? Not that I'm not getting heats right now. I want to make that very clear, but for other people...
Has your attitude changed since you had a baby? Like, we used to take a lot of plane trips together. Were you the sort of person who, like, because babies on planes, I think all babies should be stored in the overhead locker. But, did you used to hate that and now you kind of go, oh, my God, I am that?
I'll tell you honestly, I can't remember what my attitudes were like before 6:28 p.m. on the 4th of March last year. Yeah. It just all becomes so totally consuming, and some of we've been lucky, our baby's just absolutely America. She's just the sweetest thing in the world. Whether it's great or whether it's bad, the first year or so, you're so terrified. I can't remember an attitude I had to anything.
I can imagine you wouldn't have liked babies.
I'm guessing I wouldn't have. No.
Why do babies go on planes anyway? I mean, what are they going to see at the other end? Just leave them at home, they'll never know.
I can't wait for you to be a father.
Because you are a mother,
I am.
How do you feel about this?
Well, you do need a pram and you do need to get around, but I don't think they need to have these great big giant monstrosities because the women who especially hang about, the coffee shops after they've taken their other children to school absolutely hog the coffee shop. And, there's no chance for anybody normal to get in there and have a coffee.
Yes, the normal people and the breeders.
And you shouldn't take babies to stand-up comedy gigs. That's just stupid.
Who does?
I've had babies.
Yes.
Have you had babies?
I had 2 the other night. 2. They were dueling to see who was going to cry the most. You can't heckle. You can't. What do you do? What's up? Yeah. You're short. You know.
What I love is also their first words are probably going to be, "I'm very angry." Our next movers and shakers are more and more Aussie couples heading down the aisle who are asking friends and family to donate money to charity instead of buying expensive, unwanted wedding presents. And the best bit about it is some poor kid in Africa has to write all your thank you cards. Couples say they're tired of getting toasters, but what's wrong with a toaster? It's multi-purpose. If the marriage goes sour, you can shove a knife in it. Adam, you did the charity thing when you got married. Did you get any dodgy gifts anyway?
We did. We got married about 3 months ago and we got a bit carried away and invited like 300 people to the wedding. I couldn't imagine what I'd want from 300 people, so we named 3 different charities. Fred Hollows Foundation, Red Kite for kids with cancer, and a women's shelter that my wife used to work at. Said, send them some money if you can. And we raised like $6,000 and those organisations felt great. Guests felt really good about it and I didn't have to put up with the sort of taste from people. You got invited to the wedding. Imagine if I'd had to get a gift from you.
Hang on.
I'm hanging on.
300 guests and $6,000 is an average of $20 per person. What a bunch of tight asses.
Either that, or he's skimming off the top.
Yeah, exactly. I'd take 15% for an organisational fee and there were transaction costs and most of the checks I took. Yeah, no, there was a lot
when
of
he says the Fred Hollows Foundation for Wonky Eyes, he means he has a wonky eye. And he bought Ellie a really expensive red kite. And when he says woman's shelter, he means a shelter for his wife.
Yeah, we bought a holiday house up the coast for Mel,
But I got married for the second time about 2 years ago and I wanted it to be special. The second time round was going to work this time.
Absolutely.
And also because I moved into her house. I wanted to
Hey, wait, well, let's just... let's get the whole... Did you get married to another lady?
No, of course not. The ex, I moved into my husband's
our minds were racing there. Well, that's not
I thought
even
for a minute,
legal.
I was like, hang on, this is awesome.
No.
Because I would have bought you a present.
But I wanted to have some nice new things that were special and kind of smacked of my taste and were new and fresh. And it was fun going into Maya with the registry list and you go through and all these gadgets. Oh, they didn't have one of those 10 years ago.
You see, if you'd married another woman and got a gift from Will, you certainly would have been saying, what an amazing gadget. They didn't have these 10 years ago. Can I ask, Jan, for your lovely husband now, was it his second marriage, obviously, too, because he had the ex-wife?
It was his third.
His third. It's a brave guy who chooses as his third wife a sex therapist.
Yes.
That must be pretty... Does he feel like he's being judged all the time?
Well, you know, he does a lot of academic research, and I guess this was one more topic that he...
Was that his come-on line? You'd make a great PhD.
Was he like clay that you moulded, or was he fully formed?
She married a real boy.
No, I know he's a human, but I mean in that department. Do you know what I mean? Did you have to do much, you know, shaping?
Well, my ex-husband says that he taught me everything I know.
Oh.
Which is a joke.
Has your current husband come up with any more tricks, or...?
Well, he comes every year. I drag him along to school.
There you go, just once a year, that'll do.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Merry Christmas and happy anniversary. There you go.
This is the trouble. When you're a sex therapist, it's a pun every 5 words, I promise.
So where does he come?
We go to sex... We go together to Sexpo at least, well, once a year, and it's always, you know, we've got it. Is there any more gizmos? But we usually walk out fairly quickly because we're pretty happy with how we...
That's actually where you should have had your bridal registry. Our favourite mover and shaker is Men's Health magazine, which has conducted one of the largest sex surveys ever done, involving 40,000 blokes in 42 countries. Korean men have sex more often than any other country, 4.5 times a week. Unfortunately, Korean women only have sex 2.4 times a week. Which means the men are either leaving the country for sex or having it with each other. And Australian men are first in the world when it comes to number of one-night stands. Of course, we drop down to 5th whenever Warnie's in England. Dr. Jan, you're our resident sex guru. Why aren't Australian men keeping their end up?
There's so much pressure on men, and Aussie men, you know, they want to be good at stuff, you know, they want to be good footballers, they want to be good
How do we be
sex.
good?
Oh, wise one.
I mean, what do you think to relieve the pressure? What does a man do, you know? No, I mean, seriously.
Oh, you know the answer to that. Yeah. I'm sure you relieve the pressure often.
I saw this survey.
Yep.
There was one category in which the lead was massively more than anything else, and that was the category, the number of sexual positions you have in your repertoire.
Yeah.
And everyone's around, you know, between 3.5 to 5, and then out on almost 9, Hungarian men. And then I looked across, and those guys, Hungarian men only spend the same amount of time on average as sex as everyone else, but they must every 2 minutes be going, OK, let's go to the reverse inverted wheelbarrow now. Bang, OK. And for my next trick, it's the double-ended bouncy.
Do you like that? I mean, do you like to, switch it around a lot, generally, girls?
If I got flipped around like a rotisserie chicken 10 times,
Yeah?
you'd get a slap.
Or you know you're
He
in...
might like that.
Hughesy's only got 2 positions. I'm watching the footy and we're both watching the footy.
Wrong. I mean, ad breaks are good, there's no doubt about that. But, I mean, yeah, so how many, Jan, how many positions should how many should I have in my repertoire?
Most women don't like to be chucked here, from there and everywhere. And we also mostly like to experience the same sensation for a while, because we've got to warm up, you know.
Yeah.
So how on earth are we going to get warmed up if we're being thrown upside down and around and whatever? So it's best to be gentle and consistent. Get out some really good oil and the back massage, because the kundalini, which is the lower back, you know, and don't go lower. Wait, let her get really warmed up with the
Is there any way to fast-track it all, though?
So I can get back to the footy.
Yeah, well, say you had to fast-track it because, you know, you were going off to war or something.
Another one I noticed when I was combing through the stats was that Aussie men rated fairly highly in the time spent on foreplay.
Oh, well, I'll run you through the stats. Can I run you through the stats mathematically and you can work this out for us? We spent 17.2 minutes on foreplay, according to this survey. 18 minutes doing the entire act.
That leaves you 0.8 of a minute, which is 48 seconds.
If say Dave's going to war in 48 seconds, what should he try to fit in? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah, but you're putting too much emphasis on what I call the 5th element of sex. It's how you think. I call them the 5 T's.
Okay.
How you think, talking, which is really important, and then there's touching, tonguing, which is kissing or anything else nice, and thrusting, which is the 5th thing. See, the guys, they sit here and talk about thrusting all the time.
What percentage should be spent on the 5th? It should be equal.
It should be 5th.
Do you girls, if you have a man and he's a boyfriend, are you honest with him? Do you tell him what you want, or do you just let him blunder on and then just leave him one night?
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Yes.
Hypothetically, hypothetically, Dave, you would have a talk to them if you thought that it was worth your time. If you think they're beyond helping, you just leave them.
I can just imagine Holly leaving a note. Dave, I've gone to war.
Later in the Glasshouse, the ALP launches an inquiry into whether they should keep fighting amongst themselves or quickly and quietly vanish up their own bottoms.
It's a pretty basic thing to get sorted out.
Peter Costello gives John Howard an early birthday present, a 2-week cruise to East Timor. And Tony Abbott explains why his lips are so sore.
It's Howard first, it's Costello second, and then there is a whole range of other people.
Tonight's question on the Glasshouse is, what's the clumsiest thing you've ever done? Let's find some answers. What's the clumsiest thing you've ever done?
Poured Coke in my cereal.
Doesn't really look like milk to me. It's normally sort of brown and milk's white.
Yes, and it's not that fizzy as well.
Probably walked into a glass door.
Oh, if no one sees you, it doesn't hurt as much,
No,
but...
everyone saw.
Oh, no.
The clumsiest thing I ever did was I was eating a bowl of chips and gravy one time, and I was just glancing around, and this guy happened to be staring at me, and I went straight into the side of my face.
With your fork?
With the fork and chips and gravy.
Was he a cute guy?
He was a cute guy, and it was an extremely embarrassing moment.
I lost a tooth trying to steal a street sign for a friend's birthday.
I wouldn't say the most stupid thing you've ever done.
We climbed up on a wheelie bin and we tried to undo it. But a friend of mine jumped off because the car was coming along and I stacked it and face planted. Can you spot which tooth?
Oh, at the back. I can't see that. What is the clumsiest thing you've ever done?
Oh, I'd have to say spew up in an interview, job interview.
Threw up in a job interview. But did they continue with the interview or was it sort of that it?
He kept on talking.
He kept on talking with vomit all over
the table and everything.
Did you have the goatee at the time?
Yeah, I did.
That could have been a bit messy.
Yeah, it was very messy.
I got my wife pregnant.
Wow, that was an accident, yeah?
A little bit of an accident, yeah.
But have you, is this your wife here?
No, it's not.
Oh, all right. So this is just a friend?
This is a friend, yes.
No accidents with the friend?
No accidents.
Priapic news for paparazzi. Britney Spears is in with a big chance of winning Skanky Mother of the Year after walking out of her hotel in New York and nearly dropping her 8-month-old son. Britney was snapped with Sean in one hand and a drink in the other. But don't worry, she's pregnant with her second child, so that's only a light vodka. But you know babies, you think you've got a solid grip on them and then they just slip away. A bit like singing careers. Still, Brit and Kevin having another baby is actually a good thing. If she's carrying 2 kids at once, she'll be a lot more balanced. And by then, little Sean will be old enough to hold Mummy's drink for her. Dave, I'd like your help. I want you to be the beautiful Britney.
Oh, yeah. My dream come true.
And we're going to interview you.
Beautiful guy.
First question, Husey Spears. How's the baby?
The baby's slippery. Too much talcum powder.
Would you describe yourself as a good mother?
I describe myself as a yummy mummy.
Psychologists will often debate as to what's the best way to bring up your children, with praise or with punishment. Which one do you think's best?
I prefer vodka.
They were talking about your husband, Kevin.
Yeah.
What's his surname again?
Spears.
He seems to be just like one of the biggest losers in the world. What is the attraction that you see in him?
His name. Kevin. Just makes me all gooey.
What do you think of Kevin Rudd?
Well, there's an exception to every rule, isn't there?
Can I ask, my parents when I was growing up always used to have a lot of expressions like, you know, don't pull faces or wind will change and faces stay that way. Do you have any expressions that you share with your children?
Yeah, I say annoy me and I'll bash you.
What do you think your best skill is as a mother? What's your high point? What's your strength?
Shopping. For myself.
And how does that help the baby?
Well, if I'm in a good mood, he should be in a good mood.
There's been a lot of debate in the media for years about Are they real?
The boobies? Well, they are. Parts of them. The nipples are all mine. Yeah.
Is the clearly visible chest hair real?
Hormones do strange things to the body. All I can say is I think I'm having a boy.
What have you done, Brittany, to ensure that you don't drop your baby again?
I've glued a handle on it.
Yes, it's time to award the coveted Glasshouse trophy, which this week is called... And the winner of the Nozzle Schmozzle Kick Up the Friendship Ring is a woman from the German town of Munchberg who didn't have enough cash after filling up at a petrol station. So she went to get the money and left her 20-year-old friend behind as a deposit. She didn't come back. See, that's what friends are for. Hostages. Still, as oil prices keep rising, the choice between a best friend and a tank of petrol is becoming a lot more difficult. So the trophy goes to Nina No Mates, the woman who left a human deposit. But there is an easier way. If you work out how to boil down your friends into petroleum, you don't have to visit the Bowser in the first place. That's what it is for Wednesday, June the 7th. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Dr. Jen. And let's take a look at tomorrow's headlines. In The Australian, Philip Ruddock to overturn ACT gay unions. Also wants to change name of Queanbeyan. The Courier Mail has kids exploited under work choices. Choices either down mines or up chimneys. The Sun Weekly reports a Stedford bans parents taking photos of kids. Mark Latham offers to look after cameras. And the Illawarra Mercury says Eddie Maguire sacks 100 workers at 9 to pay 2 miners.